Yep, thanks for attending today's webinar series. My name's Brad, and I own and manage MotionWorks KK or MotionWorks Kabushiki Gaisha. And I'm originally from the United States, but I've been here in Japan for over 20 years and mostly been involved with consulting, recruiting, and more recently, employer branding. And with MotionWorks, we have a few different brands, but MotionWorks Media is focused on helping companies with strategic employer branding. MotionWorks Careers is focused on giving career advice and matching, candidates with opportunities in the market. And we also have MotionWorks Learning, which is an online language learning and training platform that we've been developing. And this webinar today is really focused around MotionWorks Careers topics and, helping people brand themselves better on LinkedIn. Whether you are looking for opportunities or just trying to boost your overall profile engagement on LinkedIn. I've been using LinkedIn since 2007, and it has definitely changed a lot in that time. While it started as a, professional networking platform, it has now kind of transformed into more of a branding platform by far. So this webinar session today will basically highlight some of the best practices in today's market with some of the more upgraded features in LinkedIn in order to improve your overall profile and have more engagement on the platform. So this is just a quick overview of today's session. And I'll first talk a little about the market here in Japan and the hiring trends that are affecting both job seekers and recruiters. And then I'll cover some of the basic features that are often overlooked or not even used at all on LinkedIn, and which fields are the most important for recruiters, and the difference between your resume and your LinkedIn profile, which a lot of people confuse the purpose on. And I'll also follow up with some takeaways and tasks to have you, review and refine your own profile. In my experience, I've seen a lot of bad profiles on LinkedIn from really good people in the market. So this webinar is really for those people to give them more chances to engage with the right people on LinkedIn and kind of separate themselves from the masses. The webinar is really for people looking to get more engagement on LinkedIn and open up more opportunities for them, as well as for people not looking to change jobs, but maybe to get noticed more internally at their organizations or highlight their focus and expertise, for a particular audience, either internal or external. I do recommend that you, kind of work along in this webinar and open up your LinkedIn profile and kind of cross-check some of the fields and points that I'm covering. This way it is a little more interactive, and you can, update your profile at the same time with some of these recommendations. Okay, so a little about the market here in Japan. So I've been involved with the recruitment market in Japan and, Asia Pacific here for over 20 years. And it has not really gotten any easier as a recruiter or a job seeker for that matter. And, in Japan, we have been in what we call, a candidate-centric market, which means that there are more jobs than job seekers. And that means that the economy overall is doing well, but it is harder for companies to hire the right person or secure the right person because job seekers have more options. And for job seekers on LinkedIn, that means that you will probably get contacted more often by recruiters, which can be good and bad. The good part is that it does give you more opportunities in the market. The bad part is, that it's becoming more competitive to stand out with professionals in the same industry, right? So it's definitely affecting both recruiters and job seekers in the market now. Okay, so covering the basics of the LinkedIn, I think everyone knows, how to use, or create a LinkedIn profile. But there are some fields that are really important when it comes to personal branding that many people overlook and take for granted. So today I'm going to cover the fields that are available with the free version, free LinkedIn version, but some of these fields can be optimized using the premium or paid versions. And I'm not promoting any LinkedIn paid options, but you do get more reach, engagement, and insights from the premium versions. But I will compare both during this webinar. The following points over here are basically what recruiters and hiring managers, as well as people within your own organization, look at and are important for personal branding. And these components will allow you to change your LinkedIn profile from average to engaging and have more impact on personal branding and job opportunities, definitely. Okay, so for the cover image, right? So many people neglect to put a cover image, or they put an odd image that does not really reflect their professional background. And at the bare minimum, use one of the stock images that they have for your background image, right? So, but just leaving it blank just really looks like you didn't put a lot of effort into your profile. So you can level up by using an image from your company. I do see a lot of really good cover images from companies. If you don't know where one is or something, you can ask your marketing team or something to send you an image. This really helps the brand image of the company as well as your individual credibility. So if your company does not have one, or you don't want to use your company's image, you can design your own using AI or Canva or other tools. Just make sure the dimensions and of your image fit in the parameters and stuff. There are some upgraded versions for premium users. The one on my profile, it now has a kind of a slideshow option, but those are for premium users. But for all intents and purposes, I think the free version is fine. And again, the profile photo. Don't leave this field empty, and definitely use a more professional image. I often see some of the worst profile pictures on LinkedIn, such as selfies with a bunch of people in the background or other stuff, where it's really far away and you can't even see the person in the picture. But it is nothing worse than having no photo at all, right? So be smart and use common sense. I once worked with a very senior level business director in Japan who wanted to pursue country manager roles. But his profile picture, had a picture of him with a baseball cap, eating a hot dog at a baseball game. So, it might show that, you're kind of casual and you like baseball, but it's not going to help you, land a country manager position. So, be smart and be conservative. It's the best option. AI tools can help, but I don't recommend using AI for your profile photo. And, if you are like a mid to senior level person, I would spend some money and have a photographer, in a studio take your picture. It does not need to be, like a passport driver's license type photo with no smile or facial expressions. And it doesn't even have to really be business attire. But, your outfit and photo, kind of need to reflect your personality and your profession, but also your goal on LinkedIn, right? So again, be smart and definitely include a photo on your profile. And I would recommend making it visible to anyone, or at the bare minimum, all LinkedIn members. So the headline or tagline, and section is really important because it is one of the first things that people see when they are searching profiles, right? So this is usually the only view that we get as recruiters, or if other people are looking at your profile from a list view. So when people are searching, list view, they can usually only see their profile picture, name, and headline. So that is why this section is really important, because, if I'm a recruiter searching for a particular job title or skill set, the headline can get my attention much faster. So that is why the headline section is super important here. One other point about your headline is if you change your job title or industry, make sure your headline matches your newest job. I often see, many people change their company or their title, but they don't change their headline, right? So, it kind of looks strange to recruiters, and it can be, a red flag, or it looks misleading. And you can get missed in searches altogether. So make sure you align your headline when you make your changes to your company title or status. And yeah, one other point about headlines is that, I often see people using like X Uber, X Google, et cetera, on their headlines. I don't really recommend this, and instead, put something more proactive for your headline that shows, what you actually did for those companies, instead of, where you worked, or you just worked there, right? People can see from your work history on your profile that, you've worked for a large, well-known company. It definitely increases your marketability. So you don't really need to put X in your headline, right? Since it often has a negative context instead of a positive one. A little about AI. You also use AI tools to create a good headline. And so you don't need the LinkedIn premium features to do that. And, I often found that the built-in AI features on LinkedIn are quite limited compared to, ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, and others. So if you create a clear enough prompt and specify, skill sets or industry expertise, AI tools can usually give you some good ideas for, a catchy headline. Now, I don't actually have, like, on my profile, I don't actually have, some of these skills, Python or something like that. I'm just using this for an example. But again, always, with AI, always check the results for accuracy when using AI tools. For example, the one result I liked, I put this into AI. I was using ChatGPT, and it gave me the project manager, Python, R, Figma, turning complex ideas into shipped results. That's the one it gave me. And, to me, it was strange because the term shipped results, sounds kind of strange. So I just used the results. So, always check when using AI tools. I can't stress that enough, right? So it's kind of strange. Like, you can't trust AI 100%. They are great, but, if you don't check them, they can make your profile look worse if there are mistakes or something that doesn't make sense that they use. Okay, so with your position, industry, and location, the title field is also hard coded. So, but you can also add your own title. So some of these fields are hard coded, or you can add. However, it is best to use the hard coded titles and choose the one that is as close as possible to your actual title. If your title is, specific for your industry and doesn't come up in the list, you should go ahead and add it and put it in there. LinkedIn, does a pretty good job of updating this list. So, if your job title is unique and it's not listed in the hard-coded list, go ahead and add it. But if your, company is trendy and uses something like, software wizard or something like that to be catchy, that type of title is better to put in your headline and choose the closest title in the list to come up in searches. So, if you do have, if you want to put kind of a quirky or catchy title, it's better to add that in the headlines and not in your actual title, and just rely on the hard-coded titles. Okay, industry also is pretty simple, but the list is fixed. So, you can't add an industry in this section. So you need to find the general industry that matches closest to yours. Again, the list is pretty comprehensive, but some niche industries, you may need to choose, the closest or similar industry. Many recruiters often search based on industry. So, choose the one that matches the closest to your industry or the most common sector for your business. Also, location, the actual city, obviously, is also a field that can restrict your reach and limit your profile, since, many put people put where they actually live versus where they can work or where they want to work, right? So, for example, I live in Saitama, which is kind of north of Tokyo, and people often assume, Saitama is far from Tokyo, but actually it's not. So if I put Saitama, which is a huge area, it might restrict my profile coming up in searches. So I put Tokyo, since that is the most commonly searched area and the area I prefer to work. It really just depends on your preference and actual location. But if you live in a smaller area near a large city, I would put the nearest large city as your location, since again, most recruiters do not search surrounding areas. They tend to search major cities. Sometimes they won't include some of the smaller cities that come up. So I'll cover more about the search functions for recruiters in tomorrow's session. But in general, it is better to put your location nearest the major cities, unless you prefer to work, 100% remote or already live in a major area. Or the summary section. So this is usually called it has both meanings. They have the about section or the summary section. It's called as well, depending on which field you are looking at. And it is a searchable field. So it really is important to put, keywords related to your experience, skills, or work preferences in the about or summary section. And, since it is a searchable field, it's really important to put keywords related to your experience, skills, or work preferences. Of course, you can also use it to share, your personal passions, hobbies, or interests that might highlight your personality. But make sure to include keywords related to your job, the job you want, or a particular skill set. LinkedIn does have a built-in AI function for this section for premium accounts. But again, I'm not really a big fan of the AI function on LinkedIn. And the other AI platforms often provide a more dynamic keyword and context. But it really just depends on how good you are at prompting. One suggestion is to, kind of create a prompt based on, an uploaded resume, and, specify the length, like no more than 2,500 words for the format. I think you can have up to 2,600 characters or words in there. And you can also just tell the prompt to create a profile based on, a list of things or experiences, or even add in some of your passions or missions, right? But again, because this field is searchable, it gives your profile more reach and potential to be found by recruiters. So definitely put some effort into the about section when you are updating your profile. But always remember to read and review anything that AI creates for you, because it is not perfect and it still lacks a personal touch. So always read and add in your own ideas when relying on some of the AI tools. I think that's one of the biggest things that I find is when people use AI, they're not looking, and you can kind of tell it was AI generated. It's not a bad thing if it's AI generated, but if you don't check for mistakes or things that don't make sense, yeah, it doesn't look so good with your branding. Skills section in LinkedIn is also hard coded, but you can add other non-listed skills. But it is often a good idea to use the hard coded lists, since these are useful for recruiters when they search for skills. And I'll talk about a little more about that in the next section. But I don't recommend uploading a resume. A lot of times when you create a profile in LinkedIn, it gives you the option to upload a resume, and it will populate your work history and everything. And what I noticed is for the skills section, it pulls, in the skills section, if you upload a resume, it will pull all the words it thinks are skills and automatically add them to the skills section or list. So I don't recommend this because often skills are added that are listed that are, not actual skills. They're just pulling it based on the keywords that they think are skills. And that's one of the problems with the AI or when you're parsing a resume in there. So Also, you have to, manually delete them if they do come up as skills. So, it's better just to, not upload an actual one and just manually add the most appropriate skills based on your experience. And this section also allows you to specify the company and the title where these skills apply. So this is kind of a nice feature in LinkedIn. And it can be useful since LinkedIn does not really allow you to specify how proficient or many years you have with this skill. So, applying skills to multiple jobs is likely to show, how much experience you have and what skills you gained at each company. So yeah, this is a pretty good feature that has been upgraded in LinkedIn, which is nice. If you have any certifications, licenses, or official skills, add them into the licenses and certification section, and also include them in your about or headline section as well to increase your keyword search or reach. This field is not hard coded, so you can add a certificate or a license that is not listed, but it is often it often won't come up in a search result. So try and search the list and issuing organization, so it will come up higher on results. But you can actually add something in if it's a particular one. And I think the algorithm works in any language. So if it is a particular, like a Japanese certification or something like that, it should come up as a hard-coded one. Again, for languages, it is good to list all of your languages, even your native language, so it can be searchable. LinkedIn now has a Duolingo score in the skills section, which is interesting. So I guess if you use Duolingo, you can add your official score. I don't use Duolingo, and I doubt many recruiters are searching based on Duolingo scores. But if you have a Duolingo profile and you have a score, go ahead and throw it on there. In general, it is a good idea to add language skills and put the nearest proficiency level. They have adjusted these levels a bit, which is good, since the previous levels were a bit too wide. So it is kind of nice that they are adding these, and they're constantly adding features and upgrades in LinkedIn, which is good. The resume and your LinkedIn profile. I've written some blogs about this topic and a few times, but today I can show you why this matters on LinkedIn. Many people feel the need to put every job that they've had on their LinkedIn profile, and this is not really necessary. You should really only put the roles that reflect your current role or the role that you want to get. There's no rule that says you have to put every job on your LinkedIn profile. And that's the benefit of LinkedIn versus your resume. A resume is a document that is required by most companies to show the work you have done, since graduation, basically. And, it's used as a checklist and a trust list of companies you have worked for and roles that you've had, as well as the length of time that you've worked there, right? Whereas, LinkedIn is not your resume. LinkedIn is a branding platform to get noticed and share your expertise, opinions, and achievements. It's a social media platform. It's not a resume, right? And while most people know this, they still treat LinkedIn as their resume. Just don't do that, right? Use it for what's it's intended for, right? To show the most relevant work and experience you have in a particular field, and share your expertise, opinions, and achievements with colleagues, recruiters, and other professionals. It's not a resume, right? So that's I think that's one of the biggest things that they feel obligated to put everything on their LinkedIn profile. And to be honest, at the bare minimum, you really only need to have your most current or relevant job on there, right? And it does. It keeps people, recruiters, curious. Like, oh, okay, what did this person do, previous to this role or something like that, right? So use it to your advantage, but don't treat it like a resume. What you should do is use it to highlight your current or most recent work. The company field is also very important. I often see people working at major companies, but not using the correct company logo. So this is also really important. The company field is also hard coded. So make sure the logo and company page come up when you enter the company name, right? So a lot of people, I think this is a problem with the actual field itself, but yeah, a lot of times there are erroneous companies in there, or somebody has added a company that is not the actual official company page on LinkedIn. So these are the companies that will come up that have official LinkedIn company pages. Unfortunately, many companies, especially in Japan, do not have a company page on LinkedIn, which is pretty shocking coming from an employer branding person like myself. So, if your company does not have a company page on LinkedIn, I highly recommend you push them to get one. It's the easiest way for companies to promote themselves, and it's really good for branding and stuff. So for most people, their companies will be listed here. And if yours is, just make sure that you use the hard-coded company with the logo that comes up. Even if the company is not well known, it looks better to recruiters and your personal brand when there's a listed company logo on your profile. Some companies are well known and have a company page on LinkedIn, but it may be attached to the global page and not a local page. So check with your marketing team if you do not see your company icon coming up on the list, because maybe there could be an alternative name or a variation there. And in the description section for your current or previous work experience, again, I recommend using AI tools like ChatGPT, Grok, etc. To create text for these sections. And basically open your resume and just copy the description section. Copy and paste the description section you put into your resume, and have an AI evaluate it and give you some suggestions on how to improve it, right? It really just depends on your prompting. I'm not bashing LinkedIn AI tools, but I just find that the AI suggestions in these fields are not as good as you would get with some of the more advanced AI models out there. And the best thing to do is really just experiment with each platform and come up with your own version, right? I think AI is not better than you to know your experience, but AI tools will help provide better ways to highlight your experience. So use the tools we have available, but use your common sense on which versions make the most sense. So your prompting can ask it to give you a few versions and not just one final version. And the education section, this is also really important. The name of your school is also hard coded and similar to the company field. So make sure you use the logo and icon for your school. This obviously is not as important as the company logo and profile. The only field that is required on the education section is the name of the school, but it is a good idea to add your degree or field of study, as this helps with your kind of branding if you went to a good school. And if you are a student and graduating soon, it's a good idea to put your planned date of graduation. And I've seen this, a lot of people using this, which is good. Many company recruiters will, search for year of graduation. And, the smart ones will reach out to people that are graduating in the next year and start developing, relationships early. If you're a student and graduating in the next year, I would recommend, start reaching out to, direct hire recruiters and connecting to, improve your chances over that year. For older candidates, like over 50, especially in Japan, I would advise not to put the year of graduation on your education section, since there is so much age discrimination, especially in Japan. It's often better to remove this to improve your chances of getting noticed. I will share more about this in session 2, about the related to the search functions that recruiters use. But in general, use LinkedIn to get noticed for your skill and experience, not your age. So, of course, for your resume, you need to put the year of your graduation, but not on LinkedIn. So, only put the year of the graduation on your LinkedIn profile if you feel it won't be a disadvantage, right? Okay, so this brings us to kind of the final part of the webinar. If you've been editing your LinkedIn profile during this webinar, you're probably starting to see some of the changes that can make your profile really stand out. In general, in short, remember to complete all the core sections to make your profile more appealing and engaging for people who view it. And if you're not looking to change jobs, but you want to improve your overall presence on LinkedIn and build a better personal brand, I think these ideas will definitely help. If you're looking to change jobs or a new opportunity, these tips will help you get noticed by recruiters, and your profile will come up more often in searches, which can increase your chances of getting an interview with people. So okay, so that's the end of today's session. Thanks for watching. And if you want to know more about how recruiters search on LinkedIn and how to make your profile more searchable using some of the AI tools and search functions in LinkedIn, join tomorrow's session. We dive more into the Recruiter Lite functions and the search fields and stuff. So I hope these tips, will help you improve your overall profile on LinkedIn. If you are interested in having me, review your profile and suggest ways to change it, please contact me directly or book a call on my calendar. Thanks for watching, and look forward to supporting your career. Stay tuned for more great content from MotionWorks Careers.